What's going on, everyone? Hope you're all having a good day. Today we are going to be taking a look at the new Strafe MK.2 from Corsair. This is the successor to the previous Strafe keyboard with some marked improvements over the previous version. Get it? MK.2, marked improvements, pun intended, all of that good stuff. So yeah, we're going to be going over this new gaming keyboard from Corsair, which is releasing today. I will be sure to put links down in the description below over to Amazon or Newegg, wherever you can find it. Once those links do become available, as this is day one of it coming out, they might not be available right now, but in the coming days and weeks, if you're watching this video, links will certainly be down there. But the version I'm going to be taking a look at is using the Cherry MX silent switches, and this version is retailing for $150. There is also a Cherry MX Red version, which is going to be retailing for $140, but I don't have that version to test here today. But otherwise, they're pretty much identical, just different switch types. So this is using the silent switches, as I said, which means they are going to be a fair bit quieter than the Cherry MX Red switches, although in terms of the feel and function, they are pretty much identical. They both require 45 centinewtons of actuation force and 1.9 millimeters of actuation distance to actually have the key be well actuated. It is still a linear switch, so if you ever used the Cherry MX Red before, it's going to feel very similar, if not identical to it, but it will sound a fair bit quieter, and I could certainly notice that as well. They're not really achieving this with any sort of like rubber dampeners, around the key stem or anything like that. All the noise reduction is actually taking place in the glass fiber reinforced base below the stem that you can see if you lift one of the keycaps off. Let's do a quick sound comparison here between the Cherry MX silent switches and one of my Cherry MX Red keyboards so you can get an idea for yourself just how different they sound. So as you can hear there, it is a fair bit quieter than the Cherry MX Reds, but like as I said, they have both variants, but if you are in need of a quieter keyboard for whatever reason, then you could certainly get these silent switches, but just be aware that they are going to cost $10 more for that variant of the Strafe keyboard. Other specs worth noting is that it is running off of a 1000 hertz polling rate, so that's going to be super fast response if you are needing this for gaming, which probably most of you are if you're looking into an RGB gaming keyboard. And it does have a 1.8 meter braided cable, and the total weight of the keyboard is 1.46 kilograms. There is also a detachable wrist rest if you want. It doesn't come attached by default, but it's in the box and you can go ahead and clip it on. It's not magnetic or anything like that. It just snaps into place and it stays quite secure on the keyboard. And it does have a soft touch, sort of almost like a rubberized finish, but it's not rubber. It's definitely plastic, but it has an almost rubbery, a smooth rubber, like a matte rubber sort of finish, and it's quite smooth. It's comfortable to use. You can kind of slide your palms around on the keyboard and move around comfortably without getting stuck. It's not too grippy or anything like that, but it does have a nice texture to it, so it's not completely smooth. So what is different in the MK.2 versus the previous version of the Corsair Strafe keyboard? For starters, they added in dedicated media buttons at the top right, as well as a volume knob that you can go ahead and adjust, which adjusts the volume within Windows itself. And the media keys I actually really like on this particular keyboard. Most of them on other keyboards I've seen are usually rubber, kind of like the sound mute button on this keyboard or some of the profile switches in the top left we'll get into in a moment. Most of the ones I usually see are kind of like that. It's like that rubber switch, and it doesn't really feel, doesn't really have a lot of continuity with the rest of the keys on the keyboard. But here, the keys for the media playback are actually feel to be the same exact material as the rest of the keys on the keyboard, and they're quite satisfying to press. I'm not too sure if those are using Cherry MX switches underneath those as well. If I had to guess, I would say maybe not, but I'm not 100% certain on that, as I said. But they are very nice media switches, and you can use those to pause, rewind, fast forward, and stop movies if you're happening to be doing that. As I said, above that we've got the volume roller and also a mute button, so that's going to be useful, I guess, in case like your mom walks in and you're playing games and you're not really supposed to. You can go ahead and hit that mute button real fast and you'll be good to go. Up at the top left, we also do have a few other keys. You have a profile switch. You've also got a brightness button to adjust the brightness on the keyboard since it does have RGB backlighting. And then you've also got a little icon that I initially thought was for the Windows Store. It's actually to lock the Windows button. I guess I could see it as being a Windows like padlock type of thing, but it also does look like the Windows Store logo. Let's get that out of the way right now. So that's originally what I was thought it for. I was like, wait, it makes a lot more sense that it would lock the Windows key. So it does that function if you want that. We see that on a lot of gaming keyboards now. So if you are playing a game, you don't accidentally hit the Windows key and then close down the game and then get killed in multiplayer and your whole team dies and everyone loses and everyone yells at you and then they're mad at you. So don't let that happen. You can lock the Windows key. Another change they did here on the Strafe MK.2 is that you can see we have a brushed aluminum forehead, or the top strip of the keyboard. The rest of it is plastic. The main body of the keyboard is plastic, but the top portion up here where some of the controls are is brushed aluminum. And you've also got the Corsair logo in the middle, which is actually illuminated. So you can go ahead and set the RGB dedicated for that, or any of the other keys on the keyboard if you're using the Corsair IQ software. You can get that downloaded on the website. You can go on there and you could set all the different lighting effects. They have a lot of preset ones if you want to use those. Rainbow wave, color shift, color pulse, whatever. You could set your own custom things, obviously, and do static colors if you want, or completely disable all of the lighting if that's what you're wanting to do. And of course, since it is, gaming software, good software here from Corsair, you can do all of your macros if you want to set anything in there like that. And of course, you can customize the other lighting on the keyboard, like if the Windows lock button or whatever. You can customize pretty much every single light on the keyboard if that's what you're wanting to do. You can raise the keyboard up on the back side of the keyboard, and it's kind of an interesting implementation. It doesn't flip forward. Instead, they kind of flip out towards the sides. I can't remember if I've seen that on a keyboard in the past, but that's how they've done it here. On this one, it is only one level of height adjustment. I do kind of wish that there was maybe another level because it doesn't really feel quite high enough for what I personally like to use. It feels kind of still low down to the desks, but just really a minor complaint on what otherwise is a pretty darn good keyboard. They do also include, along in the box, you do get some textured keycaps if you want to go ahead and swap those out for FPS or whatever, and you also got a keycap puller that all comes very safely, hermetically sealed in here. No scent is getting out of this. No scent whatsoever. It's going to stay very fresh. These keycaps, these are going to stay fresh AF, okay? If you don't want to open these, don't worry. You can open them in a year. They're still going to be fresh as the day they came. No problem. But that's going to about wrap it up for the Corsair Strafe keyboard. As you would expect, I mean, gaming and otherwise, it's going to be perfectly fine for that. Typing as well at the desktop. I forgot to mention, it does have full N key rollover, so you can actually press down all of the switches on the keyboard if you want to, so that's pretty cool that it's got that. Also, another thing worth noting is that it does have some side lights. You can actually customize those too in the software, so it's got some lighting on the sides. But I think we've pretty much touched all of our bases here on the Corsair Strafe MK.2. As I said, I really don't have a whole lot to complain about, except for I wish it would maybe sit a little bit higher on the desk, and if I was going to make this my full daily keyboard for me personally, it would need to be a 10 keyless, but I know I'm an anomaly. Not everyone wants a 10 keyless, but maybe a lot of people do as well. I'd love to see some more 10 keyless keyboards coming out from Corsair and other companies as well, for that matter, because it kind of seems like we get forgotten at times. The full-size keyboards seem to come out with a lot more frequency than the 10 keyless, so I would definitely like to see more of those in the future from you guys over at Corsair. Please keep us 10 keyless gamers in mind. Personally, just prefer those for FPS, which I mostly play a lot of Rainbow Six Siege. But hey, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on the Corsair Strafe MK.2. Are you on the Strafe MK.1? Are you going to upgrade for anything they have here? Is this going to be your next keyboard purchase? If you want links, as I said, they'll all be down in the description below for you guys to check out. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, don't forget to drop us a thumbs up and feed the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe if you're not already. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for another video. That's generally what we do here. Ta-ra.